So chances are you've been constantly giving to other people and you feel absolutely empty yourself. Like you feel like you're not receiving. You feel like nothing is changing. You feel like there's no progress in your life because you've been trying to make things work in other places with other people or other jobs or other school paths, whatever that is. You've been trying to pour yourself completely into these things and nothing has changed. And the reality of this is that we fall back because we don't actually learn or know how to choose us. We don't know how to fix us. We don't know how to make ourselves a priority in certain things. So we end up giving so much to everything else that nothing ever actually changes. And there's a huge problem with that. One, it's you're building a culture, a life that is consistently pouring out and always feeling depressed because of that, because you have nothing that's actually being given back to you. There's no reciprocity in anything you're doing, in the relationships, in the career, and all these things. You're consistently pouring in. So today we're going to kind of just unpack that. Why do you do that? And how do we change that? How do we fix that? And this is something that we all struggle with, but I think sometimes being able to have those things identified and worked through with other people, it makes it so much easier to actually attack. When you're sitting by yourself with this, it's hard, right? Because you're seeing, it's like looking at a mountain, right? You're looking at this huge mountain that you can't fix and that you're not able to change. But when someone tells you, hey, look, this is a path that has been discovered before, something I've learned, something I've dealt with, it becomes easier for you to add the things you know to those things. So just diving into this reality, our first part here is that there's a cost of neglecting yourself. Like, think about this. Like, there's signs of you neglecting you. An example, are you always saying yes to others even when you're exhausted? That's actually a coping mechanism that's tied into people pleasing, the desire that to do something always, to just be around, to just be invited, to just be liked. We say yes to people so often when we don't want to say yes, but we still do it because we think that if we say yes, that they're going to like us more, they're going to appreciate us more, there's going to be this opportunity for us to be loved by it. And it's tied into this reality that you don't know you and you don't love you yet, so it's easy for you to give into all these people and all these places. You neglect what you need, you neglect your internal desires, you neglect the fact that you don't even want to be present to that moment. But you think it's easier to say yes, and it's always causing you to feel drained or exhausted. You're feeling resentment towards people or situations, and because of that, by that byproduct, you hate people, you hate the situation, you hate the moment, you're not happy with it because it's caused you so much stress. And this is the reality of it. That's stress indicators show us where we are being bothered or annoyed to the point where we just don't like people or don't like the situations or don't want to be involved. But again, we circle back to that feedback loop. We say yes to everything because we think that if we say yes, it's going to change that outcome. It's going to change what it looks like. We're putting dreams and goals on hold to help others succeed. And that's one that hurts so much, right? When the cost of neglecting you is this reality that you don't allow yourself to move forward. You don't allow yourself to progress. You don't allow yourself to be better. You don't allow yourself to be the person that you desire to be because you're so busy trying to feed everyone else. You're so busy trying to care or cater to everyone else's emotions. You're so busy trying to cater to what other people think of you. And this is a huge one. This is a struggle for me for some time, right? Because I would not say things or not do things because I would want people to feel comfortable around me. Listen, this is a season of you not caring. I don't care. If you're uncomfortable, that sucks. That's a personal problem. And if you're not willing to grow in you and you think that I have to diminish me so that you can be happier, I need you to understand that that's not happening. You need to live in a season of being so content in you that people could say everything about you and you know the truth. You know what you're in. You're not busy trying to prove you to them. But unfortunately, the cost of neglecting us is that we tend to bend backwards for that. We tend to say, oh, I'm sorry, I'll step away. We make ourselves small so that people who are loud can seem bigger. You need this season of you. Neglecting yourself is never going to help you. It's never going to serve you. And it's always going to cause all these things. The consequences of these things that we just talked about, right? Our emotional burnout, our loss of identity, our growing frustration with life. We become less content with us because we've tried to make other people appreciate us. We become less happy with who we are because we think that the approval or the admiration or the invitation or the care of other people is what's necessary. You need to focus on you so much that everything else around you becomes good because you become so focused on that reality. And all this stems to our next part here, which is choosing yourself. This is what matters the most, right? Deciding that who you are is important. Deciding that the factors of your life are important for you to work on, that you need to make this the reality of you. Choosing yourself, it teaches everyone else, right? That when you begin to choose you, when you begin to declare your boundaries, or you are clear with what you want, or you're clear with what you don't want, You teach other people how to treat you. You teach them what's okay and what's not okay. And some people have been so content with walking over you for so long that they'll walk away. They'll leave when they see these boundaries. They don't want you to be this. Why? Because they have had manipulation. They've had control. They've been able to factor in who you they think you are and be able to control that aspect. I need you to understand that choosing you is going to be the hardest thing you do. And then you don't have to be perfect. I want to be clear. There's no human person that's perfect. You can grow from a place of imperfection to a place of desire. And you still won't be perfect, but it'll be something that's better than what you're in now. Unfortunately, we tend to stay in that thought that what we used to be is all we will ever be. And that is literally the most slave mindset you will ever have. You think that you have to remain as that person that you were. You think you have to stay as that person that's not healed, or that person that keeps making the same mistakes. You think you have to stay in that same place. And even if you make the same mistakes, you're now choosing a small change, which later on is going to be a huge factor. But you need to understand that self-growth is not condemning yourself for what you've done. It's praising yourself for the change you're making. And again, not making yourself an idol or putting yourself on a pedestal, but being very clear that you're not who you used to be. And the growth that you're making in this situation, in this season, is huge. It's the next step that you're taking. Unfortunately, some people will look at you and your past and judge you by it, but they're not in your future. You need to understand that the people that are in your future are people that desire growth and love for you, not the people that are going to sit there and identify a mistake that you've made in your lifetime and call you by that name. Me, of course, my basis is in faith, so that's something that for me is huge. And if you want to read it, Psalm 139, it declares against that, right? That you already have a name. That before anyone's called you anything, you were already called His, but you're already called good. So diving into that reality that choosing yourself is one of the most important things you will ever do. Like, that's one of the most important things in your life that you will ever live, because understanding that who you are is not based on what people have said about you, but on what you choose to do next. Understanding that the way you treat you shows other people how to treat you. It defines a boundary, and then this is what the benefits of putting that, right? Reality. We're creating stronger boundaries. We're making clear direction as to where we want to go in life, and we're building healthier relationships, because it all makes sense. Again, remember, if you have clear boundaries, the people around you are people that are going to desire to love and care for you and be there fully, not people that benefit from you, not people that love the gossip that they're around you, not people that are going to get something out of just keeping you there, not people that are keeping you for control or comedic humor or anything of that notion. You have to realize that setting these things, building these boundaries is going to be the greatest thing you ever do, because you began to choose you. You began to declare who you are, and simply just being firm in that. Choosing you isn't rejecting other people. It's just creating space for you to be the best version of you. It's not saying I don't love you, I don't care for you. It's saying that there's no benefit to you being present in my life. So creating that reality. And again, it's not about use to other people, to be clear. It's understanding that there are some people that don't actually serve anything in your life, that they take and they steal and they rob. So being able to declare that, being able to be full in what you actually are. So we need to be practical about this. What are practical ways of actually choosing yourself, of actually putting yourself first, of being real with you? One, you need to set clear boundaries, right? You need to, like, when I say clear, I mean clear as day. Like, people are going to speak to you some type of way, you don't respond. You say, okay, that's how you feel. That's a you problem, not a me problem. They're going to ask and demand things of you how they thought they could before, and you literally just say no. You stop the people pleasing. You stop saying yes to everything. You stop being this person that people walk over. And it's hard at first, right? Because it's not something you're used to. It's something that you have to grow and build into. But the more you do it, the easier this process becomes. You learn to say no without feeling guilty. And I need you to understand that there's no reason that you should feel guilty. And this, I know how the brain works. I know how hard it is sometimes to have thoughts and think and have to think through them, because I want you to do this right now, right? There's an exercise that I'm currently doing, literally right now. There's situations in my life where are ridiculous, that hold no weight, that have no real authority, that just annoy me to the point where it's trying to take me back to a person that I'm not. But it's just the thought of this, and the process of it is sitting through this process and saying, why? Like, why does that have power? You have to question these things. Why am I letting that have power? That has no effect in my life, has no effect on my finances, has no effect on my relationships, has no effect on my genuine friendships. It's just a person that is angry at themselves and wants to take it out on me. So why is it that I'm letting that make me mad? And the more I think about it, the less it makes me mad. It makes me not question so much the situation, but rather question the response that comes emotionally. So I need you to ask yourself, why does that even matter? When you begin to set boundaries, you need to learn to stop feeling guilty. It's not about you not loving them. It's about you loving you. When you're affirming your boundaries, it's not about you not caring about people or not wanting them around, but you caring about you so much that you refuse to let people rob you of what you deserve. You refuse to let people sit here and say whatever they want, thinking it's okay. Listen, you don't need people in your life. You're gonna die and be in that grave alone. It's good to love the people that love you, but you don't need to please anyone else. Number two is you need to invest in your growth. And then this is things like developing your hobbies or taking courses or being developing yourself, right? What you're doing now, literally, as you watch or listen to this, that is the reality of it. Growing yourself is the greatest thing you'll ever do. It's the biggest project you'll ever have, because it is literally the rest of your life. Developing something new in you, speaking kindly to yourself. Number three, I think this one's huge. It's actually the hugest probably out of all this, because you are either your biggest enemy or your biggest cheerleader. You speak to you more than anyone in this world does. Your mind, your thoughts, the things that are constantly going through your brain, you have the most power. And then the reality is that how you speak to you matters. Are you, and yes, we hear stuff like affirming, right? Affirming thoughts and affirming words. That's actually very real. And it's not even just from like a spiritual component, because the Bible says, Proverbs 4, right, that life and death is on the tongue. But it also, the reality is that your brain develops in a way that the way you speak to you, it begins to agree. It begins to create this cognitive bias that is either for or against you. And you have this positive cognitive bias when you say certain things that are positive to you. So you need to restructure and refactor how you speak to yourself. You need to speak kindly to you. Even if you've been so used to being negative, let's speak against it. Question it, why, and then speak into it. Speak the reality of what you are. And this is a hard one for me, number four, in this section, because I struggle with this often, and I need to learn myself, and I'm still developing and creating, as I plan for this year, sections of me doing this, but prioritizing rest and recovery. You need to have a form of rest, right? And then it's where you disconnect from everything. And unfortunately, people think that rest is like, oh, I'm going to sit and doom scroll on my phone all day, and that's rest. That's not rest. You need to give yourself a place to recover mentally and physically, or just spend time away from the norm, right? And this is a reality of it, because what happens is that we've become so used to the rat race that the moment we stop, we don't actually know how to stop. Like, we think that there's so many things happening that we have to overthink or overgrow or overbe. You don't have to be in everything. You deserve time to just sit and be present, to just sit and be, not need to take something in, and not need to grow in other things, and just simply be present. You're actually growing in yourself in that moment, but not need to go and develop or change or work, or just be. Just allow yourself time to be present, because that's the biggest portion of it, right? You're never going to be able to fully love you if you don't actually spend time with you. And this last point in this section, number 5, is a tough one, and it's going to hurt to do, but you need to evaluate relationships. You need to realize that not everyone in your circle is for you. Like, not everyone that you involve yourself with, and every conversation, every friendship that you have, and every person that's in your life is actually going to help you grow. And the way you evaluate this is very simple. Are they aligning with the person I desire to be? Like, do the things that they do, or the things that they convince me to do, the places that drag me, and how they make me feel, are they aligning with this person that I desire to be? Because the reality is that we have put relationships on pedestals, not just romantic or platonic ones. We have put them on pedestals so much so that we think that those things will never be wrong for us, and they're actually the things that are killing us. We've become so focused on being in toxic situations that we think that those things are good for us because we are near it, because it's proximity. If this thing does not serve who you desire to be, it's not good for you. If it causes you stress, if it causes you anxiousness, if it causes you money, if it causes you situations where you know you shouldn't be in, but now you're in, if it's taking you back to a place that you've grown out of, you need to realize that not every relationship is healthy. And being able to evaluate that is going to be a huge step forward. It's going to be the thing that changes so much for you, because you allow yourself the truth of not being in things that are not for you. So evaluating those things. And this is the growth pattern that we have. Now, our last section here is the long-term impact. And this is a huge thing, because we talk about making ourselves different, about growing, about being better. And it takes steps of consistency. And I know that's hard, because, again, it's something that it's either new to you or something that you've been struggling with. But if you begin to build small consistency, the things you choose, it becomes a lot easier to pile on, to grow in that. Choosing yourself, it unlocks new level of peace and confidence and joy. You allow yourself to be the fullness of you, because you're not sitting here focused on this negative aspect. You're just growing on what you actually can offer and giving yourself grace, understanding that you're not perfect, that you're going to fall and fail, but that you can grow from that, that there is something that's better. And again, this is not an overnight thing. Like tomorrow, you're not going to wake up and be perfect and have the right relationships and love yourself correctly, fully, and question the thoughts and build on the it's not, yes, you could have steps of it and incremental steps, but it's not going to be absolutely perfect. It's okay. It's okay to grow. It's okay to do the next things, but it would never change unless you start. Like today can be the day you begin to choose you. It can be the day that you make this clear and you make your life the center point of what you do, and you stop fixating on what other people say or don't say, or approve or don't approve. You stop making them the pedestal. You start making your life the pedestal, because it is literally the only thing that you have power over, the only thing that you'll ever grow. Choosing you is going to be the hardest thing you ever do. It's going to be literally a lifelong process. And you stop breaking your own heart by doing that, because you allow yourself to be the best version. But until you do it, until you begin to make this choice, it's going to be an uphill battle. Everything that stems from it's going to be from you trying to be approved and loved by other people. Choose you.